This company's CEO was astounded by what his employee did on his first day at work. Some people take their jobs more seriously than others. Walter Kerr certainly was one of the people that belonged to the hard-working group. His boss couldn't believe what he did on his first day of work. Stay tuned to find out what kind of impression Walter made that day. Walter Kerr was a 20-year-old college student who moved over to Homewood, Alabama, United States, with his mom after they tragically lost their home and everything they had to Hurricane Katrina. They had hoped to rebuild their lives and start afresh. Walter was determined to step up to the plate, be the man of the house, and support his mother in this time of need. He knew as long as they had each other, they would make it through anything. Walter lost his job at UPS, and as you can imagine, being a college student didn't provide him with a huge financial income. So, he went in search of one, which could supply him with a livable wage as well as more flexibility for his studies. He was looking for anyone to take a chance on it. Everything was on Walter's side, and he was able to find employment with a moving company called Bellhops. He was excited and ready to start his first day at his new job. But life has a funny way of sending us tests. Walter's car broke down a day before he was due to start at Bellhops. He couldn't afford to bring it into a mechanic to repair. One of his friends was going to take him to work, but suddenly bailed at the last minute. Walter reached out to his girlfriend and some more friends, but none of them were able to give him a ride. Kerr knew that taking a taxi was a viable option, but also one that would cost him nearly half of his salary. His mind was frantic as he was pacing back and forth, racing for a solution out of this nightmare. We're all guilty of saying how much we want something, but then throwing in the towel at the first hurdle. Do you want it more than you can breathe? Or do you just like the idea of it? Walter took a look at his GPS and calculated based on where he lives and Bellhops in Pelham. It would take him approximately 7 hours walking to reach. His dream was to join the Marines after finishing college. Walter knew that this was the ultimate test. He was needing to know if he would survive the Marines. After all, it's not an easy ride, and only the strongest make it out of life. Walter decided to set off at just shy of midnight upon having a steady breakfast, or some would call it a midnight snack. His work was due to start at 7:40 a.m., so he challenged himself to reach there an hour early. To get his bath and freshen up a little bit before work began, Kerr took his phone, wallet, a bat, and a kitchen knife for safety purposes. Along for the 20-mile journey to Bellhops, walking alone in the dark is no easy task, just ask any woman. Walter was walking at a casual pace and sprinting in between to get ahead. He kept moving forward, one foot in front of the other, the voices of fear and shame. The messages from those who wanted him to believe that he wasn't good enough would be stilled. Walter kept a conscious eye on his surroundings at all times. In between the burst of sprints, his eyes locked horn with something in the horizon. Quick-thinking Kerr held his bat close to his chest and was ready for the fight of his life until he saw that the object was nothing more than a small stray dog living in a lonely world. Walter crosses the street and the dog avoided him and carried on, starting his own way into the night. Kerr had been walking continuously now for 4 hours. As you can imagine, his legs were burning, but he wasn't about to give up now. Walter realized that since he was making great time, it wouldn't hurt to stop for a rest, or would it? Bright blue flashing lights pierced through Walter's eyes. As the lights grew closer, it became clear that it was a police car. A police car pulling up beside you isn't something any of us like. More so, being a black person. Walter was extremely anxious. Was all of this for nothing? It's well known that disdain the police have for people of color. To say Kerr was terrified would be an understatement. The officer, Mike Knighton, drew down his window and asked Kerr what he was doing out at this time all by himself. Walter explained to Mark that his car broke down and he needed to walk 7 hours to reach his new jump. A miracle happened that day, and the cop believed Walter. He offered Walter a ride and some food. Despite having his suspicions, Kerr went against his better judgment and jumped into the police car, hoping what Mark said was true. It was now 4:00 a.m., and he had covered 14 miles into his long journey. Officer Knighton told Walter that he was impressed by his sheer determination to walk 20 miles to work.
Also, if you've not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these animal stories every day. Now, back to the story.
Mark did in fact take him for a bite to eat at a nearby restaurant. After eating, Walter was dropped off at the local church. Knighton instructed Carr to wait there, and another police officer would show up, who would transport him to his final destination. Walter waited for what felt like an eternity. He became tense, knowing time was slowly slipping away through his fingertips and edging ever so closer to 7:40 a.m. Kerr started walking again in the direction of his work, when a police car slowed down beside him and shouted his name. It was the officer Mark told him was coming. Walter hopped into the car for the next stretch of road. Walter, thanks to the police, made it to work at 6:30 a.m. The police officer went with Walter to knock on the door of the couple his company bellhops was due to help move house. Jenny and Chris Lemmy were both ghost-smacked when they opened their door and found one of the movers they had hired arriving 1 hour early. Jenny couldn't believe that Walter had walked all night and immediately offered him a glass of water and told him to rest upstairs as his other colleagues weren't due to arrive for another hour. Walter was full of energy and raring to go, had declined to rest, and instead helped with packing the boxes away and getting everything ready for the big move ahead. Walter's co-workers showed up shortly after. They all managed to get everything packed away with ease. Walter even had the energy to play basketball with the couple's son in between it all. The Lemmy family were impressed by all of this, as moving is not the most stress-free task in the world. Jenny was so overcome with emotion over the whole situation. She got in touch with the CEO of Bellhops to re-raise onto Walter. The company's CEO couldn't believe what his employee did on his very first day of work. Jenny didn't stop there. She wanted more people to know. So, she shared Walter's story on social media, where it quickly went viral with thousands of messages being flooded in. A GoFundMe page was then set up by Jenny for Walter to help assist him back onto his feet. The goal was to reach $2,000, so it's no surprise everyone was shocked when the total raise was $90,000. Everyone was so in awe of Carr's grit and perseverance. They went all out, donating what they could towards this well-deserved young man. Birmingham Education Foundation has had a deep impact on Walter since his high school days. The organization helps high school students get ready for college. Walter was more than happy to give $25,000 towards the foundation. The foundation was so overwhelmed and inspired with not only Walter's story but his generosity that they decided to set up the Walter Care Award, which includes a $2,500 scholarship. Bellhop CEO Luke Marklink got in touch with Walter and the two scheduled a day to meet at a local cafe. Walter arrived and was surprised to see a few of his coworkers there. He didn't think anything untoward about it, and Luke Marklink swiftly followed by. Luke handed Walter a set of keys to his family car, a 2014 Ford Escape, a rewarding gift for an extremely hardworking and determined young man. Luke said it would be in much better care and condition with him. TV presenter Steve Harvey was another person who was astonished by Walter's marvelous story and immediately invited him onto his TV show. Steve was amazed by Walter as he did something that day many of us would laugh at. The very sure thought of having to walk 20 miles to work. Walter has now completed college. He's still working at Bellhops and very focused on supporting his community in any way he can. He still likes walking. However, he takes his car to work nowadays. Walter still can't believe how much his life has changed since that day to getting a new car, having millions worldwide know his name, doing speaking engagements, receiving $90,000 and having an award in his name. Walter Kerr's life changed miraculously overnight. The story could have easily taken a darker turn. If the police officer was racist and never believed him, you can call it a higher force, the universe, guardian angel, or even God, but something was looking out for Walter and had his back that night. It's a miracle how everything lined up ever so perfectly, all thanks to one small act of kindness. The act is what set everything in motion and that lead to the right opportunities for him. Expect to see miracles and be prepared to see magic happen right in front of your eyes. I know it's hard to see it sometimes since we only hear about the bad things happening, but there are a lot of good people out there. It's just about opening our eyes up and trusting the unknown, easier said than done. Our actions, no matter how small or insignificant, have the power to change anything, just like how a butterfly flaps its wings. What random act of kindness have you done today? Let us know in the comments below. I hope you like this video. Please share it and subscribe to our channel to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.